Hi everyone, welcome back. I've got a wild story to share with you, one that was told me by someone who experienced something truly bizarre. It's a story that involves a broken down van, an old man, and a Bigfoot. Yeah, you heard me right. Bigfoot. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive into this chilling tale. This story takes us back to 2001 on a quiet highway in Kentucky. A friend of mine was driving along State Highway 1351 when his van suddenly broke down. He pulled over to the side of the road and called for a tow truck. But here's the thing. The tow truck was running late and he had a lot of time to kill. As he sat there waiting, he noticed an old man waving at him from the porch of a nearby house. The man seemed friendly, so my friend decided to walk over and introduce himself. The old man, who was in his 80s at that time, invited him for a cup of coffee. Turns out he was a WW2 veteran, and as they started talking, the conversation took a fascinating and terrifying turn. The old man began sharing stories from his life, and eventually the topic shifted to Bigfoot. Why? Because behind the house was a heavily wooded area, and he had a story that would send chills down your spine. He told my friend about an experience he had back in the 1930s when he was just 11 years old. At that time, his family lived deep in the woods, and the forest was his playground. He'd hunt small animals, fish in the nearby creek, and even go camping on weekends. One Saturday, he decided to camp in his dad's favorite hunting spot, and this is a place deep in the woods. He set up his tent, caught some fish, cooked it over a fire, and then decided to take a quick nap. It was still afternoon, and he planned to pack up and head home before nightfall. But as he was drifting off to sleep, something strange happened. He smelled something musky, like a mix between a wet dog and rotten eggs. He stepped outside to check, but everything seemed normal, except for one thing. The woods had gone completely silent. No birds, no rustling leaves, just eerie stillness. He went back into his net, but as he lay down, something grabbed his foot. A huge rough hand yanked him out of the tent and started dragging him deeper into the woods. He screamed and tried to hold on to the tent, but it collapsed around him as he was pulled away. Imagine this, an 11-year-old wrapped up in a tent being dragged by something he couldn't even see. He could feel the creature's grip, firm but oddly gentle, as it pulled him to the bushes and over the rocks. The only thing protecting him from serious injury was the tent itself. He was shouting and crying, begging for help, when suddenly the creature stopped. It dropped his legs, and he heard a loud crash from his left. Trees were falling like something massive was barreling through the forest. And then a roar. A deep, guttural roar that was so loud he could feel it in his stomach. And the creature had been dragging him suddenly took off, running toward the noise. Everything went quiet again. And then he heard something even stranger. Two creatures talking to each other. It was in English. It sounded like some kind of language, but he couldn't understand a word. After a few moments, the footsteps faded away, and the woods fell silent once more. Still wrapped in the tent, he waited for what left like an eternity before finally crawling out and running home as fast as he could. When he got back, his mom opened the door and screamed. His clothes were torn, he was covered in scratches, and he was bleeding. He tried to explain what happened, but his mom just brushed it off and told him not to tell his dad. The next morning, his father woke him up and said something that stuck with him for the rest of his life. He said, "I believe you, son, but never go into the woods alone again, and never tell anyone about this." Now, this old man told my friend that he'd seen the horrors of war. He'd watched his fellow soldiers die. He'd witnessed carnage on the battlefield, but nothing compared to the terror he felt that day in the woods. He believed that the creature that grabbed him was a juvenile Bigfoot, curious and maybe even playful, but the larger creature that roared, that was likely its parent, scolding it for messing with a human. So what do you think? Was this a case of a curious Bigfoot or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more creepy tales. Stay curious, my friends, and thanks for watching.